Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. So let me bring you up to date on what is happening in Ukraine. Don't listen to the Western media. It's all propaganda. Don't listen to Biden, who is just trying to extend this war and make it worse. Seriously, if you listen to him, what efforts at peace is he trying to achieve? There is nothing. He's trying to turn this into an Afghanistan for Russia, but that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Before I really launch into this, I want to direct your attention to the YouTube channel of Patrick Lancaster. He is an independent journalist who is reporting from the ground in Donbass. And I mean, he is right on the front line. And he has been, for those who want to claim that the Ukrainian attack on Donbass is propaganda, he has been reporting from Donbass for at least 5 years. If you go to his main page on YouTube, there's a video from 5 years ago where he is in a trench with Donbass soldiers where they are being shelled by Ukrainian forces. And to say that Ukraine is, that Donbass is the aggressor. How are you the aggressor in a trench in Donbass? That's not possible. But he has been reporting from there. He has reported from Crimea. He is reporting from Armenia, which did you even know that Armenia and Azerbaijan are in armed conflict? Did you realize this at all? So he has reported from all of these places. He is a complete badass. And if you want to see complete badassery, he put up a video a day or two ago where he is right there with them on the front lines, and he is with Russian soldiers that are delivering humanitarian aid, food and water to civilians while they are under sniper fire. Okay? How much more badassery can you get? All right? Some of his videos are very graphic because he is reporting from a war zone. Okay? So I want to give that shout out to him. He needs the views. He needs your support. All right. What's happening in Ukraine? A few weeks ago, I said that a peace treaty was pending. And then that just went off the table. Why did that go off the table? All right. So the Russian and Ukrainian negotiators came to certain agreements. It wasn't all finalized, but so they came to certain agreements in person. Then they went their separate ways, and Russia waited for the written form to come from Ukraine. When that written form came, it basically had nothing that they had just negotiated, especially regarding Ukraine neutrality It did not include Donbass. It did not include Crimea. Which, those are the things that this is all about. Zelensky is claiming some kind of a victory around Kiev because Russian forces had withdrawn from around Kiev. This was, as Russia said, a goodwill gesture because they thought that a peace treaty was pending. And if you pay attention to the timeline, Zelensky said that he was willing to negotiate, and that was when the Russian forces started withdrawing from around Kiev. There was no battle. There was no battle that happened. So how can Zelensky call this some kind of a victory when there was no direct confrontation between those forces? Anyway, so Mariupol, Russian forces are in control of Mariupol, except for the Azovstal iron mill. Now, twice this week, on Saturday, Putin gave a deadline for the Ukrainian forces that had retreated and holed up in the steel plant. He gave them a deadline to surrender. But then he gave an extension to that. And at this point, they were actually going to go in and take the plant. But Putin said, no, don't do that. Just seal it off so that a fly can't get through. And so all those troops are in there, all those Ukrainian troops, including the Azov division, a huge number of them. There's an estimated 2,000 or more that are holed up in there. One of the big problems with this is that there are rumors that there are civilians that are being held hostage in that steel plant, in that iron plant. But they're not surrendering. They have requested permission from the Ukrainian government to surrender, and they were denied. They have no food. They have no water. They are low on or completely out of ammunition. They wanted to make some agreement for some third state party to come in and escort them out and out of the country. But they wanted to keep their weapons. And obviously Russia said no to this. Why? Okay, so you go off to another country, you get rearmed, and you come back. No, that doesn't work. There is no world in which that would work. That's completely delusional. Anyway, so there's all this talk about these tunnels underneath the steel plant. Keep in mind that Mariupol, all of Ukraine, their cities and different areas have got tunnels underneath them. Those tunnels, the primary tunnels, were built when Ukraine was still part of the USSR. The Ukrainian forces act like this is some, benefit or anything to them. And honestly, the Russian forces are like, you realize we built those tunnels, right? We have maps of those tunnels. We know where the tunnels are. They could build some extensions to them, but the primary tunnels were built by the USSR. Russia knows where they are. So this is not any benefit. All these claims that Ukraine is having some great victories or anything, this is all just absolute garbage. Ukraine has lost over 4,000 soldiers, either by surrender or death. In Mariupol alone. In Mariupol alone, they have lost over 4,000 soldiers. And now there's another 2,000 that are completely surrounded in this steel plant. There is no way out. There's no way out. There's not going to be a way out. Seriously, Russia could just, and I expected, this is what I thought was going to happen. I thought that Russia was just going to do airstrikes or missile strikes on that plant, but they decided to not do that. They are trying to use a more humanitarian approach. They have promised the soldiers, if they surrender, they will be given medical care. They will keep their lives. They will be treated with respect due to them under international law. This is not how Ukraine is treating Russian soldiers, which has been shown on video with them shooting Russian soldiers in the legs while they are handcuffed. All right, so compare this. Just compare this. I've said Russian forces have been bringing in humanitarian aid. Interviews with civilians have said the Russian soldiers treat them with respect and give them food and give them water. Well, now I'll say the only thing I have heard from interviews about the Ukrainian soldiers is that they are rude. Okay, that's all I have heard in interviews. But they also say we've been under attack for 8 years. In the Donbass region, we have been under attack for 8 years. But even in the western cities where Russian soldiers had been, when they leave, the civilians say, no, they treated us with respect. They gave us food. They gave us water. They left us alone. What is emboldening Zelensky to continue like this? A few weeks ago, he said that he was willing to negotiate with Putin. 4 hours later, the United States, Biden, says he is going to deliver $800 million worth of weapons. Well, those weapons were delivered and they were destroyed immediately upon their arrival, soon as they crossed the border. Think about this. There are only so many routes in and out of Ukraine. One route is through Belarus. Well, nothing's going to come through there. One route is by sea. That would mean using the port at Mariupol. The Russians are in control of that port. The other route would be coming from the west. Russia already struck. That was one of the few cases where they used missiles. They hit an international military training base, training my ass. But so 160 people were killed in that missile attack. Many of them from other countries. The UK is known. I'm pretty sure that there were probably U.S. soldiers there as well, but it's not going to be publicized by any side for political reasons. So if they're coming in from the West, Russia already knows when and where they're arriving, and they're just going to wait for the stuff to be delivered and then bomb it, okay? So it does no good to bring in more weapons. And if you don't have soldiers, if you've lost all of your soldiers, it doesn't matter how many weapons you've got. If you don't have anybody to operate those weapons are not going to do you any good. So this is why we keep on seeing this effort to stranglehold Russia economically, which is also pretty much backfiring. Because the ruble has risen in value, there's still, Europe cannot do without European gas, without Russian gas and oil. If they do cut off Russian gas and oil, then the price of gas and oil in Western countries could very well double, according to some experts. And then this is causing a humanitarian crisis with the cost of food, grain. Russia and Ukraine account for 30% of global grain production. Well, that also impacts the meat supply, because how are you going to raise animals for food? You have to feed them. What do you feed them? You feed them grain. So, either you're going to feed all of your grain to your animals to produce meat, which takes time, and at least 5 to 10 times as much as just eating the grain directly, which is why bread is obviously a major food source, and potatoes and stuff like that. Either that or you just have insufficient supply, period. So this is all backfiring. We need peace talks. Stop sending weapons. We do not need more bombs, more bullets, more bodies. That is what the U.S. and the West is trying to achieve. More bombs, bullets, and bodies. They don't care whose bodies. It's not just causing death in Ukraine. It is causing death globally. We need peace talks, diplomacy. What happened to that? Share this video. Talk about these subjects. Let's be peace activists. Okay? Let's stop cheering for war. You, by supporting more bombs, more bullets, more bodies, you are killing people in other countries that are not involved in this at all. You are cheering for that, for people to starve to death. Stop it. All right. Share this video. Talk about these subjects. If you can, please donate $1 a month to help expand the channel. Join me in calling for peace, please. All right. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.